And happy Valentine's Day, adventurers. What's going on? Thank you for joining us for another one of our Slant Alpha adventures here on this Valentine's Eve. Is that a thing? I just made it a thing. Yeah, I appreciate you checking in. We're going to do a little flight out to Lover's Cove here for Valentine's Day, out to Catalina Island in Southern California. And we're going to start our flight from Santa Barbara. Let me actually qualify that, because that's the plan. The plan may well be thwarted by what you see above us. This is ugly. You know, the song, It Never Rains in Southern California. Lies. Lies on lies, I tell you. Because they're getting some ugly weather right now. I'll go over the plan as it is intended, but let's then look at the weather and talk about why that plan may not go as we'd like it to, and how that might affect us toward the end, okay? So, real quick, I want to mention one thing real quick before we get into that. At the beginning of last stream, if you'll remember, we were flying this very same Reality Expansion Pack Enhanced default Beach Baron, and I commented as I started that my static elements had vanished, and I had maybe forgotten to put them back up at the end of the flight I did before that. Well, I'm thinking now that that was not the case, because when I booted up the airplane today, flaps were all the way deployed and static elements were missing again. And I think what happened at the end of last stream was I watched a replay, and of course the Reality Expansion Pack doesn't play well with replay, is what we found out actually, because it was giving us warnings about being airborne with the pitot covers on, and then it was giving us warnings about landing with the brakes on. Of course, you didn't see those warnings because I screwed up and I had the end title screen on that during that, but you at least maybe heard me describe it if you were that enthusiastic to continue watching my stream and just listen to my narration like a radio play-by-play of what was going on while the end title was up. So yeah, that was a mess. I apologize. I'm going to do a better job of monitoring the preview window here in the streaming software, just to make sure you're seeing what I want you to see. So I'm learning as I go here. I've only been doing this, 7 months? I know, it's not really an excuse. I've only been using this software for a couple of months. But yeah, no, I'll do a better job of making sure you're seeing what I'm hoping that you're seeing. But yeah, so we found out at the end of the last flight that the replay tends to throw off the persistent state that the Reality Expansion Pack wants you to save. So I don't know how we're going to handle that. Maybe I'll do the replay before I shut the plane down, and then shut the plane down and leave it in the state that I want it to be for next boot up. So we'll tinker with that, and I've actually been in touch with the simcoders.com folks just to let them know about that, just to see if maybe perhaps they can, for future versions, they can get that issue sorted out. So we'll see how that progresses, but yeah, for current, I guess I'll probably try to remember to do replays before we shut down, just so that we don't run into that issue. But anyway, I got the flaps restowed and the plane back to a proper cold and dark with tie downs and static elements all deployed. So here we are, and we are in Santa Barbara, California, and this is yet another freeware scenery package that I've installed for XP11 that I downloaded from the X-Plane forums just moments ago. And it, you can see, I don't know, we can't really see the whole airport from here, but at least the GA side is a, fairly nicely modeled, nice little parking lot. Good detail in the tower. The buildings look nice. Not as much in the way of static aircraft here, which I kind of prefer, because I want the airplanes around me to be VATSIM players, and I don't want parking spaces doubled up by static aircraft and someone else on VATSIM. And yeah, so that's just my opinion, but I'm starting to come around, and I kind of do now like seeing some aircraft parked around the airport too, even when there's no one here on VATSIM. So I don't know. I'm kind of coming around on that, but anyway, yeah. So yet another freeware enhancement for XP11. Anyway, let's look at the plan. I've connected the VATSIM and filed it already, but we'll go ahead and look at it. This is the airport diagram for Santa Barbara, which we'll look at in just a few. But here's the route. Here's the route that we filed, and you can see there is some weather about. But we're at Santa Barbara. We're going to fly the Quang 5 departure, which I'll show you in a moment. Quang 5 to Heener, and then we'll pick up Victor 27, which takes us straight into Catalina. And I say straight, there's a turn here in the airway. Well, we're picking it up from Heener, which is here. So at that point, it's a straight shot down Victor 27 to the Santa Catalina VOR. If we were going to fly Victor 27 from this point, goal it, it would be navigating inbound to this VOR here, Fillmore, and then down to Santa Catalina. But we're going to fly this departure, and I'll show you that departure in a moment. It is a non-RNAV departure, so that means we can fly it with our Slant Alpha equipment, and I'll show you that, and we'll pick that up from this point here, right here in the middle of the screen, and then we'll go southbound from there. I'm also planning on showing you an en route hold at Ventura. We don't have online air traffic control. At least we didn't when I started the stream, and we still don't know. So we've got a tower and a ground controller at LAX, which we're going to kind of pass over, but they won't be able to help us as far as any en route control. But we've been asked in the Discord channel, and if you ever want to see something done on the stream here, you're welcome to pop into the Discord. The invite link there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen is just the gibberish text that goes in at the end of it. But if you need the full link, if you go into the Twitch channel information, you can see our full Discord invite link down there. So you can join the discussion, and if there's any kind of technique that you want to see done on the stream, you can surely let us know. So this will be the second stream in a row where we've taken that advice given to us in the general discussion channel and turned it into something that we show on stream. So we had a request to see en route holds flown without the benefit of a flight management computer. So we're going to do that for you tonight, and I'm going to fly a hold at Ventura, and unless an air traffic controller comes on, we can ask them for a hold there at Ventura, but I was going to private message them and see if they would just issue me one, out of the blue, so I wouldn't be necessarily ready for which precise holding instructions they give me. But when we get there, if we don't have a controller, then I'll kind of talk through what the hold instruction might sound like, and then I'll show you how to fly that hold. And it's fairly straightforward. There's not a lot to it. It's just a matter of the wind correction that you kind of, should do, but for purposes of flight simulation here on the VATSIM network, it's not super critical that you get too deep into the weeds on that. But you should have maybe some idea, how to handle the wind correction. Just so if the wind is like crazy bad, you can fly some sort of a semblance of a racetrack pattern. But for light wind, it's really not super critical, and the basic mechanics of flying the hold are fairly straightforward. So we'll do that. We'll do that with the autopilot, but it's going to be used as a lot of heading mode, and a lot of spinning that bug around and around and around. So we'll show you that when we get there. When we get into Santa Catalina, this is where it's going to get interesting, okay? Because the current weather reported at Catalina, as far as SkyVector is concerned, says, let's see, 130 at 20 knots, gusting to 37 knots. So already that's like crazy gusty wind. Visibility, if you can read that on the screen there, it says M1/4 SM. You know what that means? So 1/4 SM by itself would mean 1/4 statute mile visibility. So what's that, about 1,300 feet? The M in front means minus, meaning less than 1,300 feet visibility in fog. And that does not bode well for our approach. Yeah. Yeah, right. VV002, overcast, 200 feet overcast, temperature's 9, dew point's 9, so it's 100% humidity there as well, 2988. And then there's some additional remarks which give you some additional information. But yeah, so here's the problem. Here's the two approaches we have into Catalina. We've got the VOR or GPS Alpha, and we got the VOR DME or GPS Bravo. Now, the Alpha is basically just you circle to this VOR, and then you circle down in this holding pattern, and you can go as low as 2,580 feet in the hold. 2580 is your minimum. If you have the DME equipment, or you have the GPS, you can fly the Bravo approach, which gives you this path up here, along this 352 radial outbound, and then this little procedure turn, and then this inbound course of 172. And while you're flying inbound, you can descend to 2,300 feet, and then a minimum of 2,220 feet. So the minimum's difference here gives you 2580 to 2220, so you get an extra 360 feet down you can descend. But still, it's a non-precision approach, so it's 600 feet above ground level there, and that ain't going to do it if the overcast is at 200 feet. So we're definitely going to need to prepare to fly the missed approach. Now the missed approach here is pretty simple. It's just climb into this very same VOR that's right there at the airport. So it's not the best example of a missed approach procedure. We're probably going to fly one of those for you on Sunday to give you a better demonstration of how to fly a more complicated missed approach procedure. But yeah, if the weather holds up as it's shown right now, Lindsay says not going to happen, and that is exactly the case. It is not going to happen. The best we can hope for right now is that the clouds move off while we're en route, and the weather improves when we get there. So we'll take a shot at the approach in the hopes that the clouds have lifted just a little bit, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time circling around Catalina Island if the weather's crap, because one attempt of proving that the minimums are down where they say they are will be more than enough for me, and we'll divert up to, take plenty of gas, says Big Yak 5D. Hey, thanks for Big Yak 5D or SD? So, Big Yak SD. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. We've got some regulars here. Justin C. is back with us. Lindsay LTRM crew is back with us. And Big Yak 5 SD, I appreciate you joining us. Take plenty of gas, he says. So we are, and Lindsay's asking what our alternate is. Alternate is really, really close by. So I'm not going to take a whole lot of extra fuel, and we're not going to do, like I said, too many attempts at that approach. If we do one and it doesn't work out, then we'll go ahead and fly 32 miles to the northeast, right up this way, bing, and right into John Wayne. So that's the plan for the diversion if we got to do it. If you got to do it, you got to do it. And hopefully I'll fly that a little bit better than I did last time I flew into John Wayne and was VFR and almost landed at Los Alamitos instead. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed, right? So that's the plan, and that's the alternate, and so we'll definitely throw a hold in there over Ventura, and that might even work to our benefit if we do fly this hold for you, show you how that's done. It might even work to our benefit because it'll give the weather maybe some additional time to move off. On VATSIM it tends to update at right around the top of the hour. That's 45 minutes from now. So doing a couple laps around that hold on the Ventura VOR might just give it some additional time for the weather to improve, and we'll see how that goes. But I think right now we've got to be ready for a diversion up to John Wayne. All right. We all on board? Ready? Everybody in the huddle? 1, 2, 3, break. Let's go. All right, let's get the checklist up and running in front of me here. Let's get everything set up and good to go. Okay, I've already kind of synced the controls. I've connected the VATSIM. I've got the levers down. I've got the plugins all running, and I think we can go ahead right into the maintenance report then. We are using the Reality Expansion Pack here for the default Beach Baron, and the first thing I'd like to do is look at the maintenance report. Make sure we're on page 1. So we did change the filters at the end of last stream, so we're good there, and you can see that the oil says it's got 46 hours before it's due. The oil has 1 quart of it's either burned out or leaked out, so we're down to 11 quarts instead of 12 quarts. But that's still plenty good. We don't have to worry about it really until it gets down to 8, so I'm not going to sweat that too much. Everything else here looks good. Filter's got 100 hours before it needs to be changed now because, like I said, we did it at the end of the last stream. We'll go ahead and look at page 2, which is the number 2 engine, and pretty much everything looks nearly identical to engine number 1. Next page says we've got plenty of cylinder head temps. We don't have to preheat. We're on Southern California after all, so we don't have to worry too much about winterization. Hang on one sec. Time for a shot of the Red Bull there. Page 4. We got plenty of charge on our battery, and good to go there. All the avionics on page 5 look okay. On page 6, we know that we've got some gauges that are slightly out of calibration. I am going to hold off on that because A, I like the character of the airplane that has a few imperfections, and B, it's money and time that I don't really want to spend right now. Fuel flow indicators I did calibrate. A few streams ago, we had a few comments about the fuel flow indicators wobbling all around, and I wasn't sure if that was just how fuel flow indicators in a Beech Baron look, or if that was a sign that those indicators were just out of calibration and needed to be adjusted. And we found out in the last stream that those calibrated fuel flow indicators are nice and steady. So that's now fixed, so that can stop distracting you while I'm trying to fly. Page 7, everything with the gear, the tires, suspension, and brakes look good. And then page 8 is kind of our maintenance, our economy summary. We've got just some accounting for the previous flight that we did. So that shows the filters that I changed. I think it says, yeah, it says the gasoline that I put in it, and the money that we got for doing the flight. I haven't really done a whole lot of research on exactly how all that works, but it's similar to FS economy, I guess. And then I guess at some point I've also heard or read somewhere, I think, that the ultimate intention from SendCoders.com is to somehow integrate this with FS economy, so that the money that you earn on your FS economy flights can be applied toward the maintenance that you're doing on your aircraft. So that's kind of a cool, possibly upcoming feature. All right, so everything on the maintenance report looks good. Let's go ahead and get the fuel load in that we want for this flight. I'm thinking it's a fairly short one, 45 minutes, and a fairly close alternate. And I think 27 gallons in each tank is going to do us. So let's pull that open now and see where we're at. We've got 27 in it, so we're good. I guess that's what we had left over at the end of the last flight. Now I am going to put a companion in here. This 305 represents me, sad to say. We're going to put a nice, lovely, shapely passenger in there with us. And we think the flight time here is going to be... Oh, and the reason I do that, by the way, is because it's a Valentine's flight. We're going to Lover's Cove at Santa Catalina Island, so of course I'm going to take somebody with me. I'm not going to go to that alone. It's not stagnant out there. Flight time we think is 45 minutes. I like to set the fuel flow estimator here. This just provides an estimate as to your center of gravity on landing, but you put in the estimated minutes and the estimated fuel flow, and it kind of adjusts that second X there. Lindsay's laughing at me. Lindsay's been to Stag Night out at Santa Catalina Island, and it's nothing to write home about. So, all right, let's apply. We didn't have to add any fuel, so it shouldn't have cost us any money. Let's see. We'll check the center of gravity prediction. Yeah, it looked good. Okay, good. Let's get into our walk-around mode, and we'll take down all the static elements, and we'll check the oil quality and the fuel quality. Where is that? That's here. And walk-around mode. All right. So we've checked everything in the cockpit. Everything looks good. Next. Next, I said. There we go. Let's see. So everything here so there's a lot of stuff on this checklist that that they don't really simulate possible failures for. So I kind of blow through it. I mean, it's nice that they include it because these items are on the actual aircraft's checklist. But because they're not failures that could be simulated in X-Plane, I don't bother with them too much. We will check the elevator, make sure that it works, make sure that it moves freely. Good. Next. And we'll check the rudder for the same. And it's good. And then we'll pull the tie down. Next over here is just to make sure everything's unobstructed and all that stuff. Good. We'll make sure the flaps don't move. We'll make sure the aileron does move. Next. Quantity of fuel is what we put in it, which is 27. That's good. And we don't see any contamination, so we're good there. We'll pull the tie down, and then we'll pull the chocks. Tires in good condition. Oil quantity, we saw that it was a little bit low on the maintenance report, but it's still well within parameters for the flight. So we're good there, and it's a nice light color, so that means it's not too dirty, so we're good there as well. Keep on going. We'll take the engine covers off. Next, take the pitot cover off. Front tire looks good. Baggage doors secured. Right engine, we'll pull the covers. Oil on the right engine also down a little bit more than a quart, but it's still in good shape. And we can pull the chocks. Tires in good condition there. Pull the tie down. All right, no contamination in the fuel. Fuel is 27 gallons as we desired. Aileron moves freely. Flaps in good condition, doesn't move, and we're back. I'm going to set the viewpoint up a little higher so I can see over the dash. I am kind of a tall person, so that's not that unrealistic to do. We will go ahead and get the yokes out of the way so we can see these switches here. Parking brake is set, switches are all off, gear handle is down. Cow flaps we can go ahead and open up. Open is on that one. Yeah. Okay, battery switch comes on. We'll hear the gyro start to spin up. Beacon panel and nav lights can come on. That's 1, 2, and 3. Your green light should light, and fuel quantity should show as set. Put the mix switch and the flaps, the props full forward. We're going to prime the right engine. Open the throttle up until it peaks. Shut it. Come back down to about half of a handle width. Magnetos. Clear the area. Fire. And there we go. Oil pressure comes up right away. Other temps start heading towards their green ranges gradually. Alternator can come on. And we'll repeat the process on the left-hand side. Fuel or throttle all the way open. Fuel pump on until it stops increasing. Set that back down to about halfway up the width of the handle. Magnetos, clear the area. Fire 1. There we are. Oil pressure comes up right away. Other temps are starting to make their way towards green ranges. Left alternator can come on. And I'll go ahead and my physical throttle now set about 1,000 RPMs. I only have the one throttle lever, so I have to go through that process by dragging the handles around with the mouse. But once I get it fired up, go ahead and move the handle in that way. Alright, avionics master can come on at this point. Marker beacon sounds turn off over here. Low IMC, I may in fact put them back on when we go to our approach, because it is kind of nice to have them barking at you when you're on short final when you can't see the runway. So we may flip those back on, but I'll leave them off for now. I generally have them off. Low minimums, it might be not a bad idea to have them. And then we'll check the electric trim, make sure that it works, and make sure that it's set to 0. Alright, we've already set our flight plan, but I'll show you what that is. I kind of talked you through the route already. But let's go to X squawk box and send flight plan. So we're IFR, we're not a heavy, we're slant alpha, KSBA to KAVX with an alternate KSNA. I've selected a cruise altitude of 9,000, it's an eastbound flight. True airspeed 170, departure time is 140 Zulu time, that's in 13 minutes, we should be okay there. Departure time actual, leave blank. Flight time 44 minutes. And with the alternate and the reserves and the taxi in and out and the contingencies, we're carrying 2 hours, 29 minutes of fuel on board at the moment. Route, as I showed you, is the Quang 5 to Heener and then Victor 27 to Santa Catalina. You know what? I'll tell you what, I'm going to hit cancel now because I did already send this. But the one thing I forgot to do for you guys was to show you that Quang 5 departure. Let's get that in front of us real quick. So here's the deal with this. Let me get my chalkboard up and running here. So basically, regardless of what runway you depart from, you're going to get an intercept to Supervisor Thomas Hansen has just sent me a message that says, "Have a safe flight." Colleague of mine back from my days with VATSTAR, the virtual VATSIM flight education center that he now runs. So I'll say hi to him in just a moment, unless he's watching. If you're watching, hey Thomas, thank you, sir. But I'll respond to you on the chat just in case you're not checking us out live here. So this is the radio off of Gaviota VOR, the 099, and we're going to get vectored to intercept it. Or if there's no air traffic control online, we're going to vector ourselves to intercept it. Once we get to this point, Quang, we have to switch from navigating outbound Gaviota to navigating inbound to Fillmore. So we'll do this that way, and that's a 070. It's the 250 outbound radial from Fillmore, 070 inbound heading to this point, Heener. And at that point, we're joining that Victor Airway, which was Victor, what was it, 27, I think, down to the Ventura VOR. This is not part of the departure route, but it's our next step in the actual flight plan that we filed. So the departure we're taking to Heener, the Heener transition here. So that's the departure, and it doesn't say anything about top altitude or anything like that. Says San Marcos transition says, you know, cross that at or above 6,000, but that's not where we're going. I guess that would be here, but that's not where we're going, so that doesn't apply to us. But I don't see any altitude restrictions. I mean, we've got this minimum en route segment. We should be approaching 9,000 feet by then. So, so other than that, I don't see anything about a top altitude. So we're basically going to assume cleared straight up to 9,000 feet. And again, we don't have a controller to tell us otherwise, so that's just how we'll handle that. All right, so now we know. Knowing is half the battle. And let me just message my friend back here. Sir. There's iffy, so we'll see. Wink. Alright. I had said we were going to be airborne at what, 8:40? Or, yeah, 1:40 Zulu time, so we got 9 more minutes. So, next thing to do, I guess, is to figure out where we are and then get a taxi plan going. Airport diagram is here. I really don't remember where I parked. I think, well, yeah. I thought it was somewhere in here, although I see transient parking is out here, and I thought that's what I picked, and there's some more transient parking down here. But I think that's where the control tower is supposed to be, and that's what I was looking at. I guess in the outside view. Oh, got Lex 4 Center logging on, so we might end up getting air traffic control here on us after all. That'll be cool. Okay, so there's the control tower. So let's get back in the airplane. I think that means I am indeed sitting there. There's the snip there. I think I am sitting there where I drew that arrow. What is the weather here? Guitar KSBA. 110 at 9 knots. 2984. Kind of skipping through the checklist a little bit. But 110 at 9, it means we're going to want to take off on that eastbound runway. Ian R. Fisher says, evening and thanks again for the ARC flight the other night. I'm so glad that when I accidentally bumped that end title screen, I so apologize for that. I really feel like an idiot when I do stuff like that. I'll do a better job of watching to make sure that you guys are seeing what I want you to see. But I'm so glad that when that happened, at least the ARC was done and I was transitioning into the regular ILS at that point. So at least what you wanted to see was done by that point. Lindsay is saying intersection departure at Charlie. Yeah, it looks like that'll be our best bet there. There's no reason to go full length in a Baron. But anyway, let's get back to the checklist. It does look like we're going to have air traffic control possibly firing up here. So let's just refresh that. See if that is indeed the case. Looks that way. All right, guys. Cool. I always like it when that happens. You guys get to hear the radio calls that go along with the holds and stuff like that. We don't need the snipping tool anymore for the moment. Get back to my checklist here. Let's see. So we set the flight plan, check the ATIS and METAR. We set the altimeter. Charted field elevation here at Santa Barbara is what? It's 13 feet, and that's pretty much what's showing on the altimeter, so that's good. COM 1 we're going to set to 125.8. Yeah, 125.8. Should hear that video game sound saying that we're connected into LA.
Could you please repeat that? Southwest 2212.
Alright, we'll go ahead and get our clearance.
2212, squawk 7314.
How busy is he? He's got some decent amount of traffic, so.
Squawk 7314, Southwest.
We'll see how this goes.
So 2212 radar contact, maintain flight level 240.
Lindsay says he's a decent controller too. Ben, yeah, I think I've worked with him before. LA Center, Baron 514 Delta Victor's on the ground, Santa Barbara. We have the weather. We're IFR to Catalina. And I was going to say something else there and I forget what, but I decided not to. I guess I was going to say we have the weather, but I already said that.
You're on 514 Delta Victor. You're clear to Catalina as filed. Maintain 5,000. Expect 900,000 in 5 minutes. Departure with me on 125.8. Squawk 7370.
Cleared to Catalina as filed. Maintain 5,000. Expect 9,000 in 5 minutes. 125.8. 7370. 514 Delta Victor.
514 Delta Victor. Readback is correct. 15 right for departure. Altimeter 2984.
2984, expect 15 right, 514 Delta Victor. We're calling a few. Alright, 15 right's not too bad. We can take that. That's. So the wind is basically coming from this direction. So either of those is fine. But if we're indeed over here, then we're going to go eastbound Charlie to 15 right and out.
Waypoint. Yeah, by United 5644 Los Angeles Center, squawk 7264.
Alright, back to the checklist. Get this out of the way. So that's good. I'm going to have to get him a message. I'm going to want him to put us in a hold over Ventura, but we'll get there when we get there. Let us roll on. We've obtained our clearance. We'll set our squawk and transponder here.
Mr. 207 Los Angeles Center, squawk 7164.
So when the first digit's 7, I always like to set the smaller digits first. That way I don't accidentally squawk like an emergency code or a hijack code or something like that.
Yeah,
so
we're
going to set 370, and then I'll move this to a 7. Ian says one of the things I picked up was constant adjustments as you go around. Yeah, so there's a lot of we're talking about the DME arc. There's a lot of instructors that will teach you 10 degrees, 10 degrees, 10 degrees. I just prefer to make it more of a constant process. And so different instructors will tell you different things on that, but for me, it's just always worked out when I try to make it a true circle and make those adjustments more or less constant. But that goes back to the last stream. Back to the matter at hand here. Let's see. Nav and ADF tuners is needed. As I said, we're going to first need to navigate outbound on this 099 on Gaviota, which is 113.8, so we'll set that. 113.8 and 099 is
Cove 58. We are inbound state at foothill.
There's 099 there. Let's see. The next thing to do here is to set the heading bug as needed. If we're departing 15 right, I guess I'll set it to runway heading, but it looks like we're going to get a fairly immediate left turn to join that airway.
1058.
But I'll set it at 15.
7364.
Just to have it.
7364 for Gulf 1058.
Flaps can get set to approach. They are set and checked. Oil temps, cylinder head temps are all in greens.
Fly heading 180.
We'll
maintain 5,000. Information zero current.
in the mix out just a touch.
ILS runway 7 right approach.
There we go. And we can get the pitot heat.
7 right
taxi
approach,
lights.
5,000, and can you repeat the heading for Gulf 1058?
And I think we're ready to
fly heading 180.
ready to roll here. So we're going eastbound. That is over our. That's heading to our left. Is where 15 right is. Okay. LA Center, Baron 514 Delta Victor, ready to taxi. Got my mic cord wrapped around my ankle here.
Everybody 14 Delta Victor, 15 right, taxi via Charlie.
15 right via Charlie, 514 Delta Victor. Alright.
Golf 1058, turn right heading 200, right to 200.
And so I assume Charlie is actually out here.
200 for Gulf 1058.
We know we need to be heading eastbound, so that's what we're doing. We also know it's not that long a taxi. So we're already on the departure frequency, so I don't need to do anything there. The only other things I need to do before we get flying is our little run up here. Where are we? Charlie and Hotel? Is that drive where we think we're going? Yeah, okay. So here's Charlie and 15 right. And we'll go ahead and pull up here, get the brakes set,
Aircraft calling, giving the call sign again.
and we'll get the run up going.
That's West 2087.
Looks like we're only going to be a minute or two after our estimate for our 840 departure, so we're good. And we'll set the throttles to 2200 RPMs.
1058, turn right, heading 280.
Cycle prop governor a couple times. 1,
What's your airspeed?
2, 3. Good there. Reduce 1700 RPMs. Check magnetos.
Golf 1058, right turn 280.
A little bit of an RPM drop there, but nothing too drastic. Good. Back.
Turn right, heading 280,
Good.
speed is 250.
Set idle. Check the feathering.
1058, roger, thank you.
Good. And back to 1000.
Airline 1615 LAX Center.
And we are ready.
San Diego area. You're going to be controlling the airspace into Santa Ana.
That is affirmative.
Calling on departure.
And what airport are you coming out of?
KSAN, San Diego.
Yeah, that's my airspace as well. You need a call for clearance.
Are we calling for pushback, or are we going to contact yourself for pushback, or on arrival on departure?
No, on
Yeah,
clearance.
you need a call for clearance. Did you send the flight plan in?
I did, yes. I'll go ahead and resend that. Yeah, you're on 1515.
Alright, well, they're sorting that out. I'll see if I can get a word in edgewise.
You don't need to resend it. Stand by.
And LA Senator Barron 514 Delta Victor, Holden Schwartz 15 right, ready to go.
Delta Victor, wind is 110 at 9, runway 15 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff 15 right, 514 Delta Victor. Alright.
Yeah, 1515, you're clear to John Wayne.
Landing lights on, taxi lights off.
San Diego.
Strobe lights on.
Papa 4, tech route. Maintain 7,000, expect 10,000 in 5 minutes.
Missed the center line just a bit.
5.8 squawk 7270.
Yeah, it's yelling at me because I let the RPMs
4,
drop.
tech route, maintain 7,000. Squawk, can you repeat the
Okay, mix goes to full.
Squawk 7270.
Props down just a little bit, make sure we don't go any more than 2,700 RPM. Oh boy, a little right rudder.
Oh, 1058, turn.
We got 80 knots, rotate, and away we go. Whoa, yep, there we go. Alright, we're climbing, gear up.
2,000. Still established on the localizer. Clear dial left, 7 right approach.
And as soon as we get 400 feet there, we'll go flaps up. There we go. Pull the mix back just a little
So
bit.
2087, expect dial left, 6 left approach.
And we'll start that left turn to intercept that radial. So 25 and 25 on the manifold pressure on the RPMs. I'm not sure what warning light, what warning it's trying to, okay, it's happy with me now. Okay.
1762 locked
So I just got to do a better job of power management there on the takeoffs, 25 and 25, once we get going.
If I went 4 Delta Victor inter contact down,
We're passing 1,900 going to 5,000, 514 Delta Victor.
I went 4 Delta Victor, proceed on course, maintain 9,000.
Climb and maintain 9,000 on course, 514 Delta Victor.
Golf 1058, continue right turn heading 10.
Okay, so 25 and 25 is just very slightly leaned.
Right turn 090.
And we'll
Intercept the localizer track inbound.
just pitch for this 110 knot climb is fine. And we'll steer toward the intercept of the 099 radial.
Turn right heading 360.
A little bit of right aileron. I still got some torque effect going here, pushing us left, so a little bit of right aileron to keep the wings level. And then let me just get my checklist back in front of me. Get turned here onto the onto that radial. See how bad the wind correction is once we get established
Yeah,
on it.
5644 turn.
Wings level, and
Zero
just keep
vector
that
for
pitch up,
traffic.
keep the climb going here.
Right 220 for traffic here, 645.
Again, we're watching most of the attitude indicator, trying not to take my eyes off it except to glance over at everything else.
That was 2087, it's going to maintain 3,000.
Trying to keep about a 10-degree up pitch here until we find we need to do otherwise. Manifold pressure slipping with the altitude now, bumping the throttle up to get it back on 25. Maintaining about that 10-degree pitch. Airspeed's good. I can pitch a little higher if I want to, but I'll just maintain that 10 degrees for now. Let's see, what else I need to do? Flaps are stowed, that's good. Propellers 25, yep. Mix is lean slightly. Anti-icing systems are probably a good idea. Let's see what our temps are looking like. We're 5 degrees. Yeah, let's just go ahead and throw them on just to be sure.
That was 2087, you are 12 miles an hour. Turn right heading 040, maintain 3,000 until established on the cleared up.
Now we're above the clouds. We
Six left.
shouldn't need them. I'll leave them off for now until I'm sure that I'm above those clouds. Does the bearing show icing on wings? I don't know. Lindsay asks, does the bearing show icing on wings? I know it will exhibit the effects, but I don't know if it shows. It is still the default bearing, and I don't know if the REP makes the icing visible or not.
Coming left 100, United 6644.
Throttle's now maxed. We're getting 24 and change on the manifold pressure, so we'll just keep the throttle wide open for the rest, and that'll be fine. Manifold pressure that you get does decrease as you get higher because the air gets thinner. Less dense, I guess I should say.
Yeah, 5644. You're 16 miles from Bumble.
And Lindsay says, remember to lean the mix. Yep, so I'm still kind of getting a feel for that. Not leaning too much, because basically what the REP is teaching me is that during the climb out, I'm not really going to lean it a whole lot until I get up to cruise. Now, what you're saying is not incorrect, Lindsay. I'm not trying to correct you, but I'm just saying that I'm not leaning it to just rich of peak like I used to do, because that was kind of the old school way of thinking. So every 1,000 feet, bring it back a half an inch or so. Okay, I'm down with that. Down with that. I'll pull it back a little bit. Now I still have the warnings enabled. It's going to tell me when it thinks I've leaned it too much. But yeah, I'm hoping at some point we're soon to turn those warnings off and just fly it, and then we'll just kind of see how the effects are at the end of the flight. Half inch of movement on the handle, yeah, I'm with you. Now the other thing I've kind of have to pay attention to is this navigation plan. I'm going out to this point Quang, which you can see, if you see the chart here, is a 32 DME from that Gaviota. And I'll do my best to draw this while I'm... Whoops! Do my best to draw this for you while I'm flying by hand. Gaviota 32.
Metro 207.
So that's what I'm doing now. And we're at what, 25, 26? What does that say? Yeah, almost 26. And we're 400 feet to go in our altitude as well. So let's get we're going to level off, and then we're going to turn at that 32 DME. So we're going to level off first, it looks like, because we're leveling off now.
1058 contact tower, 120.95.
Level off now. As the speed comes up, you have to put some additional down trim into it. The faster you go, more lift you get, more nose down you're going to fly to stay level. So I'm going to keep bumping the trim down as the airspeed comes up. Lindsay says, reminder, yeah, move the heading bug to 070 to remind myself to make that turn. Yeah, not a bad thing to do. I'm kind of just going to get the level off checklist done here real quick before I do that. But yeah, you're right. We can go ahead and close the cow flaps. And I got a switch that does that now. I don't have to reach down and do that. Propeller can go down. We'll power down to 2,300 RPMs now.
1762 radar contact.
Now we can lean it out 20 degrees rich peak.
Terminated. Frequency change approved. Oakland Center is offline. Have a good flight.
Figure out where that peak is. It's still going up. Still going up. Okay, peak looks like it's right on that middle thick line there, so we'll go one line down from that. Just enrich it just a touch until it comes back to that one line. And anti-icing systems, I think we'll leave them on. We do have some clouds up here at our level, so we'll just leave the anti-icing systems on just to be on the safe side. altitude slipped. I'm not sure if I did that. Yeah. Yep. All right. So here we go to our. Oh.
United 5644, contact tower.
See, you're catching everything I'm catching right at the same time I'm catching it. Yep. Altitude and turn right there. Yep. I'm with you, man. You're with me. I'm with you. We are of one spirit here. All right. So I'm a little bit behind. I don't have the navigation plan set yet. I got to get the next VOR tuned in, so I got to really quick do that. A little bit behind the airplane in that regard. Let's get Fillmore 112.5 tuned. I should have probably had that preset here. 12. And altitude's creeping up, so let me get the nose down. 112.5. Back 9,000, get the nose back up. 112.5 and 250, so that's 070. Correct a little bit to the left. Yeah. And flying is getting real sloppy while I'm trying to do too many things at once. Alright. So I got it correct. First of all, I got to get leveled. Secondly, I got to get back down to 9,000. Third, I got to make sure I've got that radial set properly.
348, you have any departure chart?
070 looks like to be. It's right there.
I can look them up.
Alright, we're back on it.
Stand by.
And I think at this point we'll just go ahead and go autopilot, altitude, and nav, and we'll make sure all those did indeed light up on the annunciator panel. Alright, so now that I've got some of the workload off of me, I can get ahead of the navigation plan here and make sure I know what I'm doing.
W348.
So, Fillmore.
The top of 4 was the departure runway, but we can give you. You're clear to Oakland via nav.
So we're tracking inbound on Fillmore now. This 070 inbound, 250 outbound. This point here is 17 miles out from Fillmore. So let's see how far out from Fillmore we are now, and then we'll figure out what our next plan is after that. Then I'll catch up with the chat messages. So we're at 20 miles and we're going to 17. So we don't have a lot of time. Let's real quick get this up in front of me. The next thing to do is inbound to Ventura, 108.2. Let's go ahead and get that preset. 108.2. And that turn is going to be 311. So that's 211, 111, 131. So we'll preset 131 here. There. And that's also the radial that we'll set when we get there. And we got another mile before we got to make that turn. Whew, that came out as fast and furious, didn't it?
Runway heading, we'll give you back to submission bank.
Okay. Alright, so I'm catching up with the chat messages. Lindsay is basically my right seat guy right now. He's giving me all the prompts. And the beautiful thing is, he's right with me on all these. He's checked the altitude, checked the turn, put the next frequency in, 108.2. Yeah, I'm totally with you, man. So funny. Yeah, I'm late on the turn now too that I've been reading. So we'll get the heading bug. So we're making the autopilot make that turn for us. 29er 89er 5-4 Delta Victor. 29er 89er. So we're gonna. Looks like we've overshot the radial just a little bit, so I'm gonna put a little correction in. And weather at Avalon says Big Yak SD says weather at Avalon is still crap. Oh, thanks, Lindsay. Flip the nav radio. Yeah, 108.2. We'll make sure we're navigating inbound to Catalina. So we'll put in a really aggressive 45-degree correction there because I know I've overshot that turn by the Dickens by this point. Next frequency! Oh my God, Lindsay, stop shouting at me! Alright. So, altitude, good. Navigation, we're 11.3 from Ventura. One other thing I need to do, and Lindsay is correct, that I do want to set the next frequency to Catalina, which is 111.4.
Yeah, 1550 radar contact now.
Yeah, we're only 10 miles away, so we need a really aggressive, whoops. What
Yeah,
was that?
1550, you broke up station now.
United 1515.
It was 311, so that's 131 that I bumped it off of, and then we put it back to where it was.
Turn left. Heading 200 directly Bay VOR on flight 10,000.
Let's turn.
Okay, so we're slowly coming back on course there. We've overshot that turn by quite a bit.
Maintain 10,000.
And Lindsay says, technically we should be identifying these as well. So yeah, I tell you what, that's a habit that sim pilots are not often in, that real pilots are, or should be. And sim pilots that want to do things right should be as well. You're not incorrect. It's a habit that I've not been in, and that's a bad slant alpha on me. But yeah, so when you tune a new 5-4 Delta Victor.
For planning purposes for Avalon, to give you the weather update, currently sky conditions are
Not good. That's what they
currently
are.
about 200 feet, variable 200 feet with quarter-mile visibility with fog. Wind is 13020, gust 37, the altimeter 298.8. And let me know what your intentions are.
Right now, intentions, if possible, would be to get a hold over Ventura for a couple laps just to see if that forecast is going to change any as the next update comes through. And then if not, we'll probably shoot the VOR Bravo just for training purposes and then divert to the alternate.
All right, final 14 Delta Victor, you are, go ahead and hold at Ventura on the 130 radial inbound. Right turn, 2-minute legs, maintain 900,000, and advise your intentions when you want to come out of the hole.
Okay, we'll hold on Ventura, 130 inbound, 900,000, 2-minute legs, right turns, and advise when ready to proceed, 5-4 Delta Victor. Okay, you guys get all that? Alright, so, first thing I'm going to take note of real quick
affirmative.
is the wind correction here is, what is it, a 145, and we're on a 131, so it's about a 14 to 15 degree wind correction. Direct entry, boring. Yeah. Alright, well, first of all, we're passing over the VRNR now, so heading, we're basically going to make a 180 degree right turn. Make sure the plane goes around to the right, so don't put the heading all the way to 180 degrees yet. Now, wind correction. We are correcting pointed towards the south. Wind is blowing us right to left as we did that. So we're going to correct, instead of correcting 311, we were corrected 15 degrees. We're actually going to correct double that. Because during the correction, we're correcting for the turn plus the outbound leg plus the other turn. So you kind of have to increase the wind correction as you fly the outbound leg. Now that's a simplification of the rule of the wind correction. Lindsay is a real-world pilot, probably can give us the better, more technically correct version. But Lindsay says don't correct on the first lap. Okay. You know, again, so I'm giving you kind of the simplified sim pilot version here. So if we don't correct on the first lap, says Lindsay, all right, well then I'll put the heading on to 310. Now the autopilot is not flying a standard
15-minute contact log.
2-minute turn, so we'll have to maybe manually do that. I don't know why that's limiting the bank angle, so we'll have to kind of take that into account next time we go around as well. Okay, so we're on the outbound leg. Second hand just passed the 2. Yeah, I don't know why that bank angle. The autopilot was not doing a standard 2-minute turn there, so we'll check for that, and maybe we'll hand fly the turn next time. Briggy's Gaming says, do you use live traffic plugin? If so, is it good? So I don't use live traffic. I'm on the VATSIM network, so the live, quote-unquote, live traffic that I have is this live traffic here. Beep. And it's the air traffic controller that is logged in to the VATSIM network and giving control to SoCal, to LA Center. So that's what you're hearing is an actual human controller on the VATSIM network, and any traffic that we do see is actually other human players as well.
KSBA 795 Los Angeles Center.
And Briggs Gaming is also the one that just activated the follow button there, so I do appreciate that. Thank you for checking us out, man. Appreciate it. Lindsay says, if you want me to cool, let me know. No, man, you're fine. I appreciate the pointers. You're definitely keeping me on my toes. You know, you're correct in noting that, you know, there are some shortcuts that I take as a sim pilot. And, you know, 30 years plus of doing this on a computer, I've probably developed some bad habits that wouldn't fly, quote unquote, no pun intended, or pun maybe intended, in the real world. So, you know, you're not wrong for pointing these things out, man. I don't have a problem with it. Justin says, how long were the legs? They were 2 minutes. So second hand's passing the 2. We've gone around 2 minutes straight. And here we go back to the inbound. Basically make sure the plane turns right. May just bump the, yep, I'm going to manually bump the ailerons. You can't see I'm moving the yoke, but I'm manually pushing the ailerons a little steeper into the turn just to make sure that it's a standard 2-minute turn. Seeing here, it should be pointed all the way over at that mark, and it's not. So the autopilot's not doing a standard turn for it, but I'm trying to push it a little bit further, and I could even put a little rudder into it too if I want. A little bit of rudder, you don't want to uncoordinate it too much.
United 12 and 5 is 2,000 feet, going to direct drive, is turning off.
Yeah, it's going to have a good standby.
Yeah, so we're coming into that,
Right,
coming into that track. So let's put the heading bug the rest of the way over. Yeah, and because I didn't do that wind correction, you can see I've overshot that turn.
Yeah,
13,000 for the United 85.
So we'll get back on it. Lindsay says a rate 1 turn would have worked, possibly, but you remember that the turn at the top of the leg was also wider than it should have been too, so it should have equaled itself out, I would have thought. So here's where I'll go.
So the 348.
Nav mode. Let the plane correct back onto the airway, and this is where I would
We are just looking for a Golf on Charlie.
So Justin says, I
Okay,
didn't hear the instruction,
348,
or are we holding on the
National
Victor
123,
27? He gave us a hold on the
Charlie.
130, which is 1 degree off from the Victor 27.
Delta.
So what the instruction was
Left.
hold on the 130 inbound, 2-minute legs, right turns,
And
9,000, basically.
Number 1 Charlie Golf Delta cross runway 1
So yeah, if you held on the Victor 27, that would be on a 131. He gave us a 130.
Roger, cross runway 25 to the right, or the 25 to the
I'm going to just set the heading bug over here to the right so that when we start it, it'll make our right turn for us. We're 4.4 miles out. I'm going to go one more lap and then we'll just proceed on. So here's where, and Lindsay says you don't technically make the wind correction on the first lap around, but on the second lap around, you'll notice we're on a 130. I think it might still be set on 131. I'll fix it. 130. So 130, and you'll notice that it's going to track it inbound and it's going to establish this wind correction of, what is that, about 12 degrees. Yeah, it did, and I think it's just not making full bank turns. I don't know why that is. But it's about a 12-degree wind correction to the south. So as we make this next lap, and I'm going to kick it into heading mode. ATC didn't say hold north or south, he just hold on the radio, yeah. So he said hold on the radio. If he had said hold northwest on the Victor 27, that would have been almost the same thing. All right, so heading mode goes on. And so instead of this 310, I'm going to count back 24 degrees. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my, and I got to push some aileron and rudder into the turn just to get it, I don't want to push it too much, get it closer to that standard 2-minute turn. Yeah, I can tell you what, I can take it off of heading mode, that's for sure.
Now 103 Heavy Los Angeles Center, evening block 7171.
7171.
Still wasn't quite a standard turn, but it was a little better. Alright, so we're established there on as the second hand passes the 4, and we'll go ahead and get the heading mode back on. So Lindsay says that's an aggressive correction. So here's what I was told, and maybe it shouldn't apply as much to a 2-minute leg as a 1-minute leg. And just to watch the time, time's now passing the second hand's now passing the 1. Says it passes the 4, that'll be the 1 minute, and we'll go 1 more minute after that. So here's what I was taught, and again, this is a simplified SimPilot version, was that you take the wind correction that you're getting on the inbound and you double it for the outbound, because basically the inbound is only correcting you for 1/4 of your racetrack pattern, assuming 1-minute legs, 1/4 of your racetrack pattern. The outbound is correcting you for 3/4 of your racetrack pattern, the 2 turns plus the outbound leg. So that's why I was told double the wind correction. But you know, again, I'm not textbook. This is based on, you know, just skimming through the internet and learning that way. So. So that may be one of those things that, you know, that may differ from instructor to instructor. You know, I mean, there's always little tips and tricks, you know, that you pick up differently from different people. So, Then Lindsay says, okay, that's true, my bad, that'll probably work. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. It's not certainly flying holds in a slant alpha machine is not an exact science. So we'll pop heading mode back off. And yes, it should be standard rate turns, Justin. And for whatever reason, my autopilot here is not making those banks aggressively enough. So I'm manually flying the turns to make sure we're getting somewhat close to a standard rate turn, 2-minute turn, or we're with the indicator right on that turn, that right turn mark. See, it's not. I'm pushing real hard to get it over there, and I think the autopilot's fighting against it. Yeah, the 2-minute legs does help because it's a little less busy. And we'll see how we do coming back into the inbound track this time. Should be a little bit better. So yeah, the key thing on a hold is you fly the inbound track. There's some sort of trackable course that you fly on the inbound side, and then the outbound side, it's just the reciprocal heading. And then, you know, like I said, the wind correction, you can kind of just pick up some different things from different sources as far as how you should do that. But I've always been told double the wind correction on the outbound leg that you see on the inbound leg.
Okay, 218 heavy, roger. Radar
I'm going to shallow this turn out just a touch because it looks like we're not quite intercepting that inbound course yet. Yep. And Lindsay is right there with me. Yep. Yeah. And shallow the turn out. So that correction might have been a little too aggressive. That's why that turn didn't quite put us back on course. Pop it back in the nav mode. Real quick, let's do a one sheet. Let's just see how it looked on the ground track.
Turn right, heading to 13,000.
Roger, right.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, it's imperfect, but not too bad.
I maintain 13,000.
All right, let's meet our KSBA-KAVX.
Oh, you want the Fanatic?
Let's get that over some darker so I can read it.
All right, Fanatic is Sierra.
Quarter statute mile, rain and or light rain and fog. Still overcast at 200 feet. Yeah. So if we were smart, we'd go ahead and divert now to our alternate. But I do want to fly the approach. So. All right, so let's see if we can continue on the path. We've done a couple laps of this hold now, and we'll start.
03 cross Derby intersection at 16,000.
Oops.
Cross group at 162,000.
LA Center 514 Delta Victor. We're ready to proceed on if that's okay. We'll go ahead and fly the approach into Catalina just for training purposes.
514 Delta Victor. Proceed on course, maintain 900,000. The Los Angeles out 2993.
2993 on course 900,000. 514 Delta Victor. All right, so 2993. Let's figure out what on course means after Ventura real quick. It is 129 outbound. Updated weather is no good, no bueno. That's what it is.
Right now, it's the same fog, 200 feet, quarter mile visibility, light rain, wind
129.
130.3.31.
514 Delta Victor, roger. Yeah, I saw a couple chat messages asking about GPS-based holds. I'll get to that in just a second. Let me just figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here. Get back on this airway. Make sure I'm still in, okay, I'm altitude mode, I'm in heading mode, but I want to get back on nav mode. And I also want to make sure I move this out of the way and make sure you guys are still seeing my cockpit this time. Hey, look, you are. Miracle. Oh my God. How embarrassing. Alright, nav mode engaged. We'll get back onto that outbound 129. Justin says, not a slant alpha question, but what about holds at a GPS waypoint and track to follow? ATC will give you an inbound track, yes. And the methodology, it's really built into the GPS unit or the FMC. So it becomes kind of academic at that point. The GPS is literally going to draw that hold pattern, and then it's going to fly it for you. Or at least, and I don't know how the general aviation GPS units work. They may not be fully equipped like that. And I'll confess that I don't know. But I do know that it's going to draw a track, and then how you fly it is, it might vary from aircraft to aircraft. But the GPS is going to draw the track based on the mileage rather than the time, and then yeah, sometimes you get an FMC that flies it, sometimes you don't. But yeah, it's going to draw that pattern based on the distance rather than you having to time your legs. Justin C says, so ATC will always give you a track to follow. Yes, the only exception to that is when they're going to say, fly the published hold at. Let me see if I can come up with a good example. Might not be too many around here. Certainly on your approach, yeah, okay, well here you go. Here's one, it doesn't really give you much information. But it does say it's left-hand turns there at Cove. Probably more so on your arrival procedures. Let's see if we can look at a... whoops, not what I meant to do. See if we look at the Pitbull 1 arrival into Santa Barbara. If it'll load. Don't see a published hold on that one. Let's just go back here. KLAX. Oh my God, that is a cluttered chart right there. So for example, if they say fly the published hold at Ronald, they're not going to have to give you a track, and they're not going to have to give you turn direction because it's there. You know what I mean? So, if that helps you, Justin. Alright, what are we doing? Outbound on Ventura, we should be thinking inbound to Catalina at some point. Let me get back over here, catch up with my navigation plan. 54-mile leg, so 27 is going to be the midpoint, so this Doyle is going to be the midpoint. Where are we now? 15.8, so we got a little bit of time. I believe I already preset that, 111.4.
Grand 514 Delta Victor, in top suppression 5,000, Avalon altimeter 2987.
2987, pilot discretion 5,000, 514 Delta Victor. So 2987, and we'll go ahead and get the descent started here. 15 and 20. Get my checklist back in front of me. Haven't done an approach briefing yet, really, but I'll do that in just a moment. 15 and 20. Mixed anti-icing system. Okay, so descent checklist is complete. Approach for the, you heard me say VOR Bravo. I showed you these two at the beginning of the stream. Bravo just gives us a lower minimum. Bravo also gives us this outbound leg and procedure turn. So, now here's a question for you, Lindsay, if you're still paying attention. When I get to Santa Catalina and I'm going to get established on this outbound 17 or this outbound 352 before I make the procedure turn, the hold that's depicted there is for the missed approach. It's not for the purpose of course reversal to get established on the outbound. Or is it both? That's one thing I've never known. Like, I'm going to be coming into this thing. I'm going to be coming into this thing at this angle here, and I'm expected to go out. So am I supposed to, you know, do a parallel and that way? Yeah, the dotted lines are only the missed approach. So that's what I thought. But then the question is there any particular maneuver I'm going to need to do to get established on this outbound course? So I guess the answer to that is whatever ATC tells me. Justin C says, thanks for all the help. I don't fly in VATSIM events because I've been afraid of being given a hold and not know how to fly it right. Time to go practice. Well, the good news is VATSIM controllers are probably not as strict as long as you're doing the turns in the right direction, 180-degree turns and the right length of time. It's probably close enough. You do the left turn to 307 is what you'd do. Go straight, go left, and then go straight into the procedure turn angle. I see what you're saying. So Lindsay is saying what he would do is something like this, and then straight out to this procedure turn angle. And then once you cross that course, start your minute count, and then come back in, almost like figure 8. Yeah, VATSIM ATC would just be happy if you circle the point and not crash. Well, they'll be even happier if you make the turns in the proper direction for the proper amount of time. So really, if you do, you know, fly 1 minute, 180-degree right turn, fly 1 minute, 180-degree right turn.
Expect VOR DME approach into Avalon.
The VOR DME into Avalon 514 Delta Victor. That's this one. The it should have been VOR DME Bravo, or actually, I guess it's VOR DME or GPS Bravo, but whatever. It's this one. I could probably descend at a little bit faster rate here. 15 and 20, gotta bump the manifold pressure back down. Make sure the RPMs stay up above 20. So yeah, Justin, I mean, I agree with Lindsay's assessment that the VATSIM controllers are going to be a little less strict about proper flying into the hold. If you can get the basics down of fly the course to the fix, make a 180-degree right, fly for 1 minute, make another 180-degree right. That's really 90% of the way there as far as VATSIM is concerned. All the stuff about the wing correction is crazy. I mean,
Victor, direct Wrigley intersection, cross Wrigley outer about 2,300, clear VOR approach.
We're slant alpha, so we're unable to direct Wrigley. We can go direct Santa Catalina and then vector from there, or how would you like us to do that?
If you want to take the well, either the VOR Alpha, or you can take either one of those, pretty much the same run. Direct Santa Catalina VOR, and then follow back off the whole direct Santa Catalina northbound.
Okay, so direct Santa Catalina and then northbound to establish on the outbound radial. That'll work for us, 514 Delta Victor. So coming up on our
If 514 Delta Victor, cross direct Santa Catalina VOR, cross the VOR outer about 2,400, cleared VOR DME out approach.
Okay, Santa Catalina at or above 3,400, cleared to VOR DME approach 514 Delta Victor. Alright, now I know he told us we can descend now to 3,400, but I'm going to level off here, get the navigation set up. Let's go 22 and 22, go back into altitude mode. Let's see, I don't need the Quang departure anymore. Let's get the VOR frequency, which was 111.4, and we're inbound. So basically, he said proceed direct, so at this point, don't have to worry about the course too much. We'll just fly direct to it from where we are now. Alright, so we're 19.7 and we're going down another 1,600 feet. Really don't need to do that until probably 5 miles out, so we'll hold here 5,000 for now. Leslie, I am trying to get back to your chat messages. We got that one paragraph there that I haven't quite been able to read yet. Let's do a full proper briefing on this approach real quick. So, 111.4 rather, 111.4, outbound 172, inbound. Outbound 352, inbound 172. Let me start over because I didn't know what I said right there. Outbound is 352.
218 cross casted at 1.
Proceed return. We'll look like that, and then we'll get established on the inbound 172. Wrigley is 5 DME, 2,300 when we're inbound.
Yeah,
cut off the minimums, but the minimum's 2220. So really, once we get to that point, Wrigley, we're not going to be able to descend too much further. Elevation is 1,600. We believe that the ceiling is still going to be well below the minimum, so we're going to be prepared for a mist. Mist is a 3,400 climb direct to Santa Catalina, and it is going to be you know, basically another hold pattern here.
103 depart Derby, heading 310 to maintain.
So we'll probably do something like a teardrop, 30 degrees off that way, and then back, and then a pattern like this. So we'll be ready for that. Definitely going to need it. Lindsay said, thank God you're on the PC today. Usually watching on the phone and can't type fast enough.
460 Los Angeles Center, river contact. Stay altitude.
It's like we're not in navigation mode here. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, good. And we can probably go ahead and
460,
start.
turn right, heading
Let's do it real quick. Let's just do another METAR KSBA-KAVX just to see if anything's changed.
Right turn 250. Maintain 13,000 yet.
13 up. All of a sudden, it's super clear. 130.23 gusting to 31. Quarter mile, light rain and fog, overcast at 200. So nah, it's really not going to get any better. $10 miles out now, and we're going to turn to an outbound heading of 352. So let's go ahead and get that set. There. That's a pretty sharp turn. Well, center's going to close in a couple minutes. He's not going to stick around for the exciting conclusion. You're going to miss the crash, dude. So, yeah, that's a really awkward turn to get established on that outbound, so we'll plan to overshoot that, and I'll correct. But for right now, I've got the heading book set where I'm going to set the radial to. No crashing tonight? Oh, come on, Lindsay. Where's the fun in that? But anyway, we'll go ahead and get the rest of this descent going now. $15, $20. Probably throw the mix in just a touch here at this point. No, mix is... AGT is dipping when I do that, so I don't want to... No,
United 460,
okay.
Right turn
Alright,
260
I'm
direct.
going to leave it where it is right now.
Then on course, climbing
Lindsay is creepily whispering in my ear, "You're dressed in a little angel costume sitting on my right shoulder."
Delta 1762, cross path, get 7,000.
The devil is me in my red t-shirt going, "Oh, we don't need to preset anything. We'll figure it out when we get there."
That's correct, 7,000 at that.
Alright, 5 miles, and then we're going to make this crazy hard left turn to get on this outbound radial. I got to watch the altitude too. Lindsay is shaking his foot. He's so nervous. Come on, man.
Miami, Los Angeles Center, radar
Have some
contact.
faith.
Fly heading 071, climb and maintain 13,000.
Alright, I'm going to shallow the descent here. Throw a little bit of power back into it. And I'm going to cut this turn real short. I'm going to turn it well ahead of the VOR, just because it's a really sharp upward turn. So I'm going to shortcut it a little bit here. Matter of fact, let's just do that now.
Hey, 218 after.
So there's
after
352.
Direct Degny intersection, cross Degny.
And I'm going to put about a 30 degree correction in there. 3,400. Let's go back to altitude mode. Yeah, about 50, 60 feet low, but
218 after Cassis. Proceed
power back
direct
into it.
Degny intersection,
22, 22 ought to be okay.
Your clear dial left on the 32 approach.
Enrich the mix touch.
Verify 14 Delta Victor, advisory 122.8.
122.8, 514 Delta Victor, thanks.
And center will be closed, so you'll just, if you're going to go mid, you're going to need to stay on advisory.
Roger, thanks for services. Alright. Nav. Alright, so we're going to need to remain within 10 miles as we do this procedure turn. I like to start the procedure turn no later than about 6.5, and we can actually pull the speed down too. Pull the speed down to about 120. Go ahead and put it in nav mode, or heading mode, just because we're going to be doing a lot of manipulation with the headings. Okay, so again, this procedure turn is going to be a left turn to 307, and then 1 minute, and then a right hand 180 to 127, and then join the VOR radio back in. At that point, we can, once we're just established on that inbound radio, we can go down to 2300, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to see anything more than we're seeing right now. So get used to this view. That's what it's going to look like. So there's 6.5. I say let's go for it. Let's go to the 307 heading. There. Flip that around to to 172. Zoom in just so I can see it. Get it right set on 1712. There we are. Established on that. No, come on. We're not going that slow. Established on that procedure turn heading on as the second hand swept past the 2, so that's going to be our that's going to be our 1 minute there. Lindsay says, "Hey, honey, down there's where we were going to go for Valentine's Day. You're just going to have to take my word for it." Yeah. Well, no, we're going to John Wayne Airport instead. Well, Pilgrim, I was going to have a nice Valentine's Day with you, but taking bets at the house? Yeah, no, we're not going to see anything. That's my bet. Alright, 180 degree right turn back to 127. And then get established on the inbound radial of 172. And once we're in there, yeah. Big X says, "I see a missed approach in your future." Roger that there, Kreskin. Yeah, no, this with the weather report, and I'll be honest with you guys. Lindsay says it's going to be long to get back on the inbound. We're heading directly to the wind. Yeah, well, it's starting to come in, but it's yeah. We'll give it another couple minutes here before we get back on course. But honestly, with the weather report as we got it, with a 200-foot overcast, I honestly wouldn't even be flying this approach if it wasn't just to kind of demonstrate it. We would have diverted based on just the weather report. But heck, where's the fun in that, guys, right? Alright, so we're back on that inbound course. With the correction here, we're going to go left, stay on that course, go ahead and pop it into nav mode, let the autopilot take care of that aspect for us. So the heading for the missed approach, it's a 195 radial. But we're going to do that teardrop entry, so we're going to add 30 to that, and we're going to go 225. So that'll be what we set the heading bug to, because that's going to be our missed approach turn. Dane Watson says, "Join late. Normally I catch them on YouTube. It's good to have you here, man." I did receive that. Let's start the descent. We're going down to our minimums. Well, we're 2300 at 5 DME, and then 2220 once we pass that. So yeah, Dane normally doesn't catch us live. He's normally checking us out later on YouTube. Good to have you here, man. Just in time for the missed approach into Catalina. Our romantic getaway is going to turn into a visit to John Wayne Airport. Whoa, we got a little bit of turbulence here. Get the speed down. Let's get the props back up to 20. Speed down to 120. We can go flaps 1 in gear. Open up the cow flaps. Anti-icing system's still on. And we'll add a little power back in to counteract all that extra drag. Going down to 2300 at 5 DME, which we're at 5.8 now. So we'll go down to 2220. We're not going to see anything. Lindsay's picking on me because I'm not making any calls on Unicom on text while I'm hand flying. Well, I'm not really hand flying. I'm flying a VOR DME approach into an airport where nobody else is around. He's picking on me about the Unicom calls. Alright, so now we're within 5 DME. We can go down to 2220. Lindsay's suggesting I put a little bit more mix in. Yeah, you're right. No, see, so as I push the mix in, the EGTs dip. I don't want them to dip. So I'm going to kind of leave them where they're at. Minimums again are 2220. 2,220. There's 22. We're at minimums. I don't see anything. You guys see anything? Have we seen a runway around here? Let's throw a little bit more power in it now that we've leveled out. Yep, 2.8 is that missed approach point, and that's where we are now. Alright, so climbing now to 3,400. Prop and mix will go full. And 25. Gear up. Store the flaps. Pitch for 100 knots. And now that we're past the VOR, not quite past it. Quite gonna turn on that outbound teardrop heading just yet. And the altitude's 3,400, so we're coming up on that now. Shallow the climb. And we're passing the VOR. Let's go into heading mode and altitude mode. Oh, heading, I said heading. There we go. Alright, so we're leveling off. We can go 22 and 22. Alright, now what we're doing is we're establishing this hold here at Santa Catalina. So it's a 015 inbound, so I'll go ahead and get that set. Over here. Whoops. 015 inbound. Okay. Power back down. I don't need to speed them in this here. 3,400 feet, which is where we are. Should have started counting a minute. It was maybe about 15 seconds ago I got established on that outbound. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start our turn back to the left. Yeah, make sure you don't turn it past the 6 o'clock position or else the plane will start turning the other way. Still going to try and back the power down just a touch. 20 and 20 ought to do it. Actually, probably go to like 17 and 20. Alright, so we'll complete the turning of the heading bug now that we're less than 180 degrees to go. We're going to watch the track come back in. So what we'll do one lap of this hold pattern here at Santa Catalina, and then we'll divert to John Wayne. Oh, we're coming in on that track. Well, that's both good and bad. No. What are you doing? Get it. Keep turning, airplane. Keep turning. There you go. Alright, so we're 5 miles out. We're going to do one lap of this hold pattern. We no longer have air traffic control. What is our new path to John Wayne? Let's kind of come up with our own clearance here. So here's what I think. We got this point, and we can blank this out. Let's go SXC. Is that MIDS? MIDDS? Yep. So I think that's what we'll do. Navigate that outbound, and that'll put us essentially on a right downwind for John Wayne, right? Can't really see it with the weather there. Yeah, that'll put us essentially on a right downwind for John Wayne. I do need to make sure the landing direction at John Wayne. Hang on. So Lindsay says Victor 21 to Seal Beach and then to the approach into John Wayne. That's what they usually do. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, southbound's normally the landing direction there. Let me just make sure the wind's not something crazy goofy from the other way. Variable of 4, so yeah. So 20 is going to be preferred. Overcast 2500. We should be able to get in there. That's no problem. Alright, so as we get ready to do this one more lap here at Catalina, there's a left turn as depicted on the missed approach procedure. And let's cheat just to see what the track looked like. Yeah, not a bad little teardrop entry there, and the procedure turn looked pretty good as well. I'm happy with that. Oops. Yeah, we're going to do one more lap here at Catalina, and then you're saying that they generally would clear. I would say, you know, you got this point mids with a reference right off of Santa Catalina. We can just do that. But yeah, no, if you're saying they usually do Seal Beach, I mean, that makes sense too. Let me get that back over here. So what Lindsay is saying is SXC Victor 21 SLI, and then KSNA, and then we'll see what we're flying here into John Wayne. KSNA. I did try what you said. I think it was Lindsay you told me about pulling the charts up in SkyVector and then being able to pull them around and move them around. I still prefer this separate page. ILS or log 20 right. The airport diagram down here. So Seal Beach has a feeder into the approach. So we'll brief that in just a second here. I didn't really take note of the time when I got established on this outbound leg, but we'll say maybe it was right around 15 seconds ago. Ian Fisher's going to duck out and head to sleep. Hey, I appreciate you popping in. If you want to see the exciting conclusion, catch it here on Twitch, or you can put it up on YouTube probably tomorrow. Thanks for checking us out, man. Get some rest. Yeah, but we'll say we'll do this. We'll do entry here like this, and then in. I know technically that they always recommend the parallel entry this way. If the turn's not too bad, I prefer a teardrop coming in at a shallow bounce angle like that, as I call it. But we'll do that into the inbound approach, and it's 111.75 and 196 course. Finish the approach briefing in a second because I got to do my inbound turn. So we'll get up to 4,000 feet for that feeder leg. It's 111.75, 196. We'll check the wind was variable 4, so there's not an appreciable wind correction. Ceiling was what now? Ceiling was overcast at 2,500. Minimums for the approach are, for a straight in, it's a 255, so we should be plenty good there. And it's going to be, if I remember correctly, a left turnoff if we land, and if we happen to go missed, it's 3,000 on the southbound course, straight out from the straight out along the localizer to 3,000 feet. Okay, should be good there. And oh yeah, let's finish our turn. How did that second lap look? Yeah, not too bad. Three statute miles visibility, so I'm still going to need to earn it. Yeah, man. And we'll half flat too, because I'm a glutton. We'll do it. We'll do it. Lindsay says, I'm doing awesome. It's a high workload flight. Don't say that until I'm on pavement, man. I'm just thankful. You know what, honestly? Right now, the biggest thing for me is the fact that you guys can still see the cockpit. I haven't done something dumb like this. I know. Yeah, I know. We're playing semantics now. All right, so outbound from Santa Catalina on the Victor 21. We're going to go 0... I can't even read that. Is that 032 or 022? Looks like it must be 022, yeah. Okay, so we'll make the turn. This way. 0, there's 2. Hold on, there's 2, 0. And 1, 2. Alright, so we'll correct a little to the right, get back on it. Yeah, Dane. Dane's the one that pointed out on my last stream. Right as I turned from the DME arc onto the final approach course, I bumped something, and you all saw my end title screen for the whole rest of the flight, which I was super annoyed about because it was a great landing. But I've been paying a little bit more attention this time, Dane. I learned from my mistakes. Sometimes I have to make them a few times in order to learn from them, but I do try to learn from my mistakes. And so I have been paying more attention this time to make sure that the cockpit screen is still being shown. So, nope, nav mode didn't engage. Let's hit it again. There we go. All right, so it's a 31-mile leg. 15 miles will make the switch. (022) outbound. This is something I started to say on another stream and I got sidetracked and forgot. 022 outbound, 202 inbound. Now, you would think that would make logical sense and they should always match up like that, but they don't. Actually, they seldom match up like that. There's Earth curvature going on, there's magnetic deviation going on. Sometimes they're a few degrees off. Most of the time they're a few degrees off. This is a kind of a shorter leg, so and it's fairly far south, so you don't see as much of a variation that way. But on some of these legs, you'll if you ever wondered why the outbound heading and the outbound course and the inbound course don't match up, there's a bunch of reasons, but it has to do with Earth curvature. These aren't really straight lines, and magnetic deviation plays a factor as well. So in this case, though, it matches up perfectly. 022 and 202. But I started to say that either last stream or the stream before, and I got sidetracked and completely forgot to come back to it. I'm leaning the mix out just a touch since we're in not completely cruise mode, but we got a little bit of a leg to fly here, so then the engine's out just a little bit, and so the feeder leg off of Lindsay. I swear to God, I was just gonna say that. Oh, I startled the cat. Yep. So the MEA along this segment is 4,000 as well. Yep, you're correct. I was thinking of the altitude for the feeder leg off of SLI, but you're correct that the Victor 21 is a MEA of 4,000 as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. Good call, good call, good call, my friend, good call. But yeah, I startled the piss out of the furry co-pilot just then. Sorry, kitty. Consider that payback for that stream that you yanked my mic cord out on. Viking Captain says, I can stay at the MOCA within 22 miles of the VOR. Where is that? Is that on this approach here? Well, that says 2,900, I guess, depending on the angle. Okay. Is that the asterisked altitude? Is that what we're talking about? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No, there's not one mark for this one, if that's what that is. We'll level it off at 4,000. And we'll bring the power back down to 18 and 20. Yeah, so there is not a on some airways you'll see the minimum en route altitude will be marked, and then below it'll be one that has an asterisk. Let's find an example here. Yep, here we go. Let's get this out of the way just so I can check my 11 miles out. So I got a couple miles yet. I gotta make this transition. But here's what we're referring to. And Viking Captain, I haven't seen you on the stream before, I don't think, but I do appreciate you checking us out. Hope you'll be back. We do this 2 or 3 times a week, whether my wife likes it or not. It's a terrible thing to say on the day before Valentine's Day. Yeah, and so I generally do most of this stuff by radio navigation. Occasionally, I'll throw in a flight in the Coronado S550 Citation. I'll do that with the FMC Slant Lima. So it's rare, but I do it. I don't do too much airliner flying these days because my computer's just not strong enough to run the Zebom on of late. So yeah, I've given up the full airliner flying, but I'll do a few in the BizJet every now and then, where I'll do a little FMC-ing. But mostly I like to do this all by radio navigation. I do have obviously the GPS in the Baron, but I ignore it as best I can. 15 miles out now, let's make that navigation switch. We're going to go inbound Seal Beach. And then I'm probably pissing Lindsay off because I don't think I preset the frequency. $15.7. Sure didn't. Actually, should be in nav mode, or should be in heading mode when I make those switches, just to avoid throwing the autopilot off. Big Yak says was gonna fly from MIF to SNA, but resting up for the monthly United VA regional day tomorrow. So you've got an O'Hare to Buffalo to Dulles to was that Memphis back to Chicago? Good gracious. No, I'm sorry, Memphis, not Memphis, Nashville. Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is, I get Memphis and Nashville confused anyway. I don't know why. I am actually going to Nashville for a wedding in May, and every time I've brought it up to my wife, oh hey, it's only X number of months until our Memphis trip. Oh hey, we got to get our hotel in Memphis. She's like, Nashville! Lindsay's gonna go eat dinner. Thanks for the kudos there, sir. You can catch the exciting conclusion on the YouTube archive afterward, or here on Twitch for at least the next 2 weeks. I think they stay active. But I appreciate your help tonight. Appreciate your looking over my shoulder, catching all my mistakes, and I mean that sincerely. You know, I always enjoy the constructive criticism. So thanks for being here, man. We'll catch you on the next one, hopefully. And Big Yak says in the FlyJ 7.2. Oh, doing some old school navigation in that. Then was watching Cat Strader do a flight in that. Actually, Cat Strader. So I was what was I? I was the Reagan clearance controller for a flight that he did, and then I went and watched his stream back later just to see what he said about the route that we gave him. So I got to watch him fly that a little bit, and it looks like a neat plane. I may have to pick that up. Viking Captain says, quick question, is there VATSIM or IVA or something similar for XP11? I'm on VATSIM now. I'm connected to VATSIM as we speak. That's me. And earlier we did have air traffic control on. They logged off, but yeah, we're on VATSIM. You can definitely do VATSIM on X-Plane. Do it, man. Matter of fact, that's what you're seeing up on the upper left-hand screen there, Viking Captain, is the list of controllers that's online. It's LAX ATIS is running, LAX ground, and LAX tower is what you're seeing on the upper left. And then if you look over here, that VATSPY tells us kind of graphically who's online, and you're seeing this the same ground tower and ATIS there at LAX. But no, earlier in the stream we did have we'd have an LA Center controller on, and we were talking to them. So you'll notice in a lot of my streams that there is VATSIM air traffic control. I try to do my flights where there's VATSIM air traffic control logged on, although sometimes, depending on the goals of my flight, you know, I'm doing a certain approach to a certain airport or what have you. But I do try to do them in areas where there's active controllers on when I can. So check us out again, and you'll see that in action. Or watch this stream back from the beginning, and you'll see it as well. All right, so 5.5 miles out from Seal Beach, and we're gonna get ready to pop this out again. And again, the recommended entry up here would be a parallel, which is you're kind of crossing over into the non-protected side, but then you join the outbound heading, you turn counter to the hold direction, rejoin the course, and come back in that way. That's what the book would tell you. However, it also tells you that the exact maneuver that you follow is not that critical as long as you stay on the protected side. So coming in at an angle like this, I've just always been more partial to going to the teardrop, just a left turn to 30 degrees offset, and then join in the same direction as the hold and come in that way. And that's just a personal preference, but as long as you stay on the protected side, you're good. Dane Watson says, don't want to disrupt your concentration. Well, don't worry about that. I don't have any to begin with. It says, it's your first time live on Twitch. Not sure how to set up full screen and also get the chat. It's a good question. I don't know. Most students will go parallel, but then they don't keep the needle centered and you drift off onto the unprotected side. Yeah. I just... For when the angle's like this, you're coming in kind of shallow, for some reason the teardrop just makes more sense. Doing the parallel and you have to turn counter to the hold direction, it just feels weird to me. But that's my own kind of pet peeves. You know, take everything I do with a grain of salt. I don't do this in the real world, so. But personally, like I said, just for me, you know, my preference is to do a teardrop there in that kind of case. So outbound from Seal Beach on the feeder leg now, if you look in the lower left-hand corner where Seal Beach VOR is, we're going to be at 049 degrees on the outbound. So we're going to turn, and we're in nav mode, but we're going to pop it into heading mode. So there's 6, whoops. Yeah, well, I'll leave that there. There's 4, what did I say, 049? So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like I turned a little short, so let's correct to the left here. Oh, whoa, now it's coming in. Hey, let's come back on it. Yeah, Viking Captain says, if you have wind from the west, you might drift off on the unprotected side during the inbound turn. As long as you stay on the protected side, it's not real critical, is what Viking Captain is concurring with my sentiment, so. We'll see. We'll see how well I do. Let's get that dial back in, and we'll pop it back into nav mode. Just check and make sure that it lit up on the annunciator there, and it did. So with the reality expansion pack, the fuel gauges are inaccurate. The left one reads a little lower than the right one, and that's just because that's the way this particular plane has randomly worn down over the time. So this is only like my 5th or 6th flight with the reality expansion pack, and I booted it up. When I started this plane, I started it as a Flying Club owned plane, which means that it had a little bit more wear and tear and less upkeep on it than other, person. I'll show you. See if I can show you. I don't know how well you know this reality expansion pack. You can start the plane as a brand new, privately owned but still new, privately owned but old, or Flying Club. And depending on which of these you pick, the top one is like most well maintained, and the bottom is like most crappily maintained. And I started it just because I wanted to see what some of the quirks and individual characteristics of the plane would be. I started it as a Flying Club plane just because I wanted to see, like, okay, what's going to be broke on it? Cool, let's find out. So the one thing that it did was it gave me fuel gauges that kind of, one reads a little low and one reads a little high. Viking Captain says, yeah, a good touch of realism. They're only required to show 0 when it's 0. They can be inaccurate otherwise. Yeah, so we looked at the maintenance log, and so when I first got Reality Expansion Pack, it told me exactly what the inaccuracy was. Now, if you look at that maintenance page, it just says needs calibration. So there's been a change of version, and it doesn't give you as much information about what's inaccurate about them. So it just says needs calibration. So I just remember from what it originally told me that one of them was a little low, one of them was a little high. It is still simulating 2 identical engines. It does have the option of simulating, if I go under settings here, enable realistic engine differences, the second one from the bottom that I have unchecked. And I have that unchecked because I do not have tandem throttle controls, tandem prop, and tandem mixture controls. So I have a single lever for each of these dual controls there. So I need identical engines because I don't have the ability to fine-tune the differences out like that. But the REP offers the ability to simulate the realistic variances between your left and right engines. Alright, so we're taking this out 18.9 miles. We're at 7 miles now, and I'm not doing a full, I'm still kind of doing this at stage 1 approach speed, 120 knots. A little slower than I normally would. Viking Captain says, oh, so you say, yeah, kind of scary when the fuel quantities are reading near 0. Yeah, really scary when they read 0 and you actually have 0 fuel. Yeah, I've only landed in the field once on stream so far. Not really a crash, just an off-airport landing, right? Yeah, Tainsaw, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm still kicking myself over that one. Actually, it was a nice, smooth landing. Thankfully, X-Plane didn't simulate the giant rocks and other ruts that would have been in that field for real, so we lucked out. Dane Watson says, yeah, I hope you cleared the undercarriage after. Well, fortunately, we did not have the reality expansion pack installed yet on that one, so when we booted the airplane up, it was perfect again. Thank God. Alright, so 18.9 miles out. Good, I got time to finish this Red Bull. Trash cans 8 feet away. Can I hit it? Or recycle bin, rather. You think? We'll try it. Nailed it. Dane Watson says you should buy shares in Red Bull. No, I refuse to do that. What I'm trying to do is get them to sponsor the stream. That has been about as successful as you would expect so far. Believe me, I spend enough on Red Bull as it is. They should be buying shares in me, man. Big X says you don't want to miss a second time. Yeah, well, we're hoping that the Catalina approach is the only thing we missed tonight. I still got an approach in the John Wayne to fly yet. I realize sometimes I leave you guys just like staring at my instrument panel. I apologize, but notice that there's really not that much else to see right now, so. Looks like Justin C is going to try and get first-hand view of my landing. Is that what's going on here? I see you. You can't get anything past me, man. So, Dane, do you happen to have 2 monitors on your setup? Because I think that might be a way to watch the stream full screen and still have the chat window. If you go full screen on a second monitor, I think you can still have the chat open on the first monitor. Don't hold me to that, though. There is, if you right-click on the screen somewhere, there's something called like pop-out viewer. I think it's the settings. There's something like called pop-out viewer, and then you full screen that on your second monitor, and it should leave the chat on the first monitor. Something along those lines. All right, so we're 18.5 miles out, and we're about to be 18.9 miles out, and that's where we're going to make this 30-degree left turn, and we're going to tune in the localizer in 111.75. I'm going to go ahead and preset that now. Alright, let's make our 30-degree left from 016, 10, so 2356, 346. Oh, and you know what? I didn't put it in heading mode. That would have helped. So now we're definitely on the non-protected side. Whoops. Alright, well let's get that 111.75 set, so we'll see how badly we're on the wrong side. 196 is the inbound. Yeah, we overshot that bad. Whoopsie! What was I saying earlier about doesn't matter what you do as long as you stay on the protected side? Bad slant alpha. Alright, so now we're crossing over that localizer beam, so now we're crossing back into the protected side. Yeah, so what happened was, kind of draw it for you. I don't want to go too much further out. I'm going to make this turn back in. So I flew this, and instead of doing this, I did this. So now I'm kind of coming at it a little further out than I should. Oopsie. Oh, and now I just went and bumped the course needle. Let's reset that, 196. And we'll go ahead and start the turn here. As we get established on the inbound course, we can get down to 3,500. So we'll get spun around, and then we'll do that. And you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and hand fly the rest of this for you. Ready? Say your last prayers now, guys. Auto's being kicked out of the cockpit, and it is my airplane. And I'm crossing back over that localizer again. Got a private message from a supervisor. I have no idea why. Alright, let's get the nose up here. Alright, there's 3,500 now as we get established inbound. Let's get corrected and get back on that localizer course. Alright, 17.3, we gotta be above, at or above 3,500. We're at 21 miles out now. Got a private message from a supervisor, but I don't think I'm doing anything worthy of intervention. I'll check in with him in a little bit, once I get down, I think. Alright. Justin C got the same message. Okay, well, it probably went out to everybody by accident then. I won't worry about it. Alright, so initiating the approach. We'll get down to 120 knots. Flaps 1 in gear. Add a little power. Mostly watching the attitude indicator, and then you gotta just glance around, see what else you're doing. Cow flaps open. I think they probably are. Yeah, they are. A little bit more power. anti-icing system still on. Good. Yep. More power. Nose down just a touch. Alright, so 17.3, we gotta stay at 3,500. That means I can come down a few. Oh, well, we're at 15.9 now, so I can lose quite a bit of altitude. 15.9, I can go down to 3,400. Keep drifting to the left, so let's fix that too. Passing 12.4, we can go 2,800. Can't quite do that yet, so let's keep it to 34. And now I've overshot the correction on the localizer again. Yeah, I'm kind of chasing this localizer needle a little bit. This is not my best work. Oh, we'll get it. We'll get it tuned in. No worries. Okay, so 3,400 to 12.4. At 3,500 now, I can go down to 3,400 at 12.4, which is where I'm just about at, and then we can go down to 2,800 by 10 DME. Okay, passing 12.4, so we can now drop to 2,800 feet. Just a reminder, minimum's 255 feet. It's a left turn off if we land, straight out to 3,000 if we go missed. Now we got the correction kind of dialed in here. Oh, and we're going to start to see land. That is awesome. Good. Let's still fly by the numbers, though. To 10 DME, we can go to 2,800. Okay, that's now. And now to 7.8, we can go to 2,200, and then we'll just glide slope intercept from there, which we're kind of on glide slope now. So pretty much at this point I'm flying the needles, and we'll start getting the speed down for the second stage of the approach, get the second stage checklist in front of me. We're going to get the speed down to 100 knots. Let's power down and nose up. Just a touch right of center line, and we're just a touch below glide slope. we're not doing too bad here. Alright, got our 100 knots. I'm not in a huge hurry. I'm still 7 miles out. So I don't quite want to drop the speed and go landing flaps just yet. Fly it in just a little bit right on this speed. Don't worry about that when we get a little closer in. Still kind of drifting right. The wind was supposed to be variable at 4, and I don't know what that means in terms of how X-Plane simulates that. But it does seem to be blowing us off course to the right, so we'll just nose over to the left here. And we'll play it like it's left to right crosswind. Well, now I'm a little above glide slope. Now we can keep the nose down, get power down, get back on that. Still getting blown off to the right a little bit. We're still above glide slope. That looks a little better. Alright, let's go flaps 2. Start getting our props and mix back up towards full. Speed to 85 knots. Oh, speed's a little low. Let's get it back up there. Oh, it's not my best approach, guys, but it'll do. We got plenty of pavement. We'll make it work. Oh, ground effect. Floating it. Yeah, not too bad. Waste a little pavement, but we got it down safe. We can kind of roll it long past the end of the parallel, and then we'll make a left. Yeah, Dane, we floated it a little bit. We certainly could have gotten down a little sooner. But I'm not terribly displeased. Alright, so let's keep a little RPMs in it. That's the one thing I always forget. Lean it just a touch. Keep a little RPMs in it. Go strobes off. Landing lights off. Taxi lights on. Flaps are stowed. get the anti-icing stuff off as well. And we'll just taxi it into a GA parking spot somewhere over here. And we'll call it a day. Thank you, Justin. Justin says, nicely done. Viking Captain says, yeah, good job. It's not too easy in a sim. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've definitely done better, but I wasn't too unhappy with that. I don't really know where I'm going. I guess I'll just pick a spot over here. My big thing is I'm trying not to see the warnings about the engines spark plugs fouling, because that's my big thing on with the reality expansion pack. It picks on me every time I let the RPMs get too low on the ground, so I'm trying to remember without seeing the warning messages. Once I get to the point where I'm not seeing the warning messages consistently, I'll turn those warning messages off and I'll just deal with the consequences of my errors. I'm showing as a 738 for you anyway, says Justin. Well, yeah, the landing roll probably looked like one too. Just in slow motion. Well, hey, actually, Justin, now that you mention it, you're showing us one for me. Or is that an Airbus? I think that might be an Airbus. Tight fit in the hangar. Well, here's how it's supposed to look. Yeah, so we keep hearing that Squawk Box 1.4, or whatever the next version is, supposed to solve that. So we keep anxiously awaiting that. But, who knows. Alright, well, let's get this thing shut down. Actually, let's do this real quick. I want to look at the ground track. Yeah. Yeah, definitely overshot that turn. Oh well. Oh well, yeah, the stuff down here at Catalina was a lot cleaner. But, yeah, anyway. Not a big deal. Live and learn, right? Alright, so what's the drill here now that we're parked? Let's go ahead and get the taxi light off. Transponder can go back to 1200 and off. Go ahead and get disconnected from VATSIM. Let's see what else. Transponder, we'll just reset the elevator trim. That goes here. Here we are. I would say check the fuel and ETA, but I'm not going to bother with that because we're an hour and 20 minutes past the time that's on my chart. But, you know, a missed approach and a hold will do that for you. But we can go ahead and get the rest of the aircraft shut off. Actually, let's do this. Let's look at the replay first, and then come back and do the shutdown. That way, the replay won't interfere with my shutdowns as it pertains to the plane booting back up at the beginning of the next one. So let's do this. Let's just watch the let's watch that terrible floated landing. Yeah, there was definitely a left to right wing correction going on there. Yeah, not my most stable vertically. Sugar Crab Aim was his name. Yeah, I agree. Wind was supposed to be variable at 4, but that's definitely not what we were seeing. Kind of didn't get that correct until the last minute. Affected me there. We set her down fairly straight, a little right of center line, but fairly straight. So, yeah, not too bad. Like I said, wasn't 100% my best work, but I've done way worse as well. So, so let's get out of replay mode here. Back into the airplane, and we'll finish the shut off here. Avionics will come off. Let's make sure the flaps are stowed. Avionics will come off. Prop and mix levers down, so we'll cut off. And then we'll feather. Magnetos. Magnetos, my favorite breakfast cereal. Cow flaps can go closed. Beacon, nav, and panel lights can come off. Not necessarily in that order. Alternators. Battery. And then we'll do our post-flight walk around here. Where are we? Down the bottom. Walk around. Post-flight. Pitot tube cover can come on. We'll put the tie down up. Tie down up, put the whole self in, and we'll shake it all about. Tire's still in good condition. Covers go on. Covers. Wheel chocks. That tire looks okay. Tie down, and we're done. Last thing to do is check the maintenance report. Let us bring that up here. Back to page 1. So 44 hours before the oil needs it, we're down to 9 quarts now. So we'll, depending on how much more comes out in the interim, we might need to refill that before our next flight. We'll see. But we'll check that at the beginning of our next flight. Filter says 99 hours left on it. Engine 2 says same things. 9 quarts, 99 hours before the filter needs changing. Everything else looks good. No preheating necessary. Of course, we're not flying again. Battery's nice and fully charged. Avionics are all okay. We know about the calibration issues. Everything's good with the tires, brakes, and suspension. And looks like the last 2 entries are up top. We didn't buy any gasoline, and we got $941 for that flight. Oh my God. Expensive. Man, I wish I could get those kind of rates for real. Anyway, so yeah, we earned almost $1,000 on that flight. We didn't spend anything on maintenance or fuel. Well, we did bleed the tanks nearly dry, so we're going to have to buy some fuel for the next one. But that'll do it. So there we go. Hope you all had fun watching me fly through holds and clouds and missed approaches and all that fun stuff. I had a good time doing it. Wasn't quite the romantic getaway to Catalina that I'd hoped for, but it was still a good one. Anyway, what do we got on tap for you this weekend? So we normally do a Saturday night, Sunday night, and then we do every other Wednesday. So the next deal is coming up this Saturday night, and that is going to be, what is that? Get it in front of me here for a second. Okay, so this was the 13th, so Saturday the 16th. Alright, so that's going to be the next the Slant Lima adventure I was telling you about. We'll boot up the Coronado Citation 2, the S550 Citation. We're going to do a little run into Daytona Beach, where the VATSIM ARTCC is going to host a little fly-in to Daytona Beach in commemoration of the Daytona 500. So we'll race in there as well with our Cessna Citation. So a little slant limit flying, diversion from the theme of the channel, but it's always fun to do that every now and then, just for kicks. Dane says thanks, great as usual. Great's relative term, but I appreciate that, Dane. Thanks so much. Then Sunday we'll be back into true slant alpha flying. We'll boot up the Aeroworks DC-3. Minneapolis ARTCC's got an event going on where they're going to have staff at Grand Forks, North Dakota, and Duluth, Minnesota. So we'll do a little flying between those two airports in the Douglas on Sunday. So those are the next two coming up. And definitely appreciate you checking us out. Hope you'll be back with us again. You can always look at the old broadcasts on the YouTube channel. Put Slant Alpha Adventures into the search. It'll pop right up for you. Just Google, put those into separate words there. You can catch up with us at Twitter and Facebook. On both venues, we're at Slant Alpha. Justin says, thanks. Great flight. Good learning holds. Yeah, man, like I said, on VATSIM, they're not too picky. Just make the 180-degree turns in the right direction, and you should be fine. And then, of course, if you want to join us on Discord, that Discord link's on the lower right, or you can catch the full Discord link in the Twitch channel information. All right, so until next time, thanks again for watching. Please be safe in your travels, in your own adventures in the meantime, and we'll talk to you on Saturday.